Welcome to the Arts DAO podcast, your number one podcast for understanding the Web3 space. We chat with influential creators, entrepreneurs, and builders leading in the NFT and crypto industry, giving you decentralized access to everything happening behind the scenes with exciting projects and companies emerging in the Web3 space.
Yes, good morning. We are back, and a very warm welcome to Neil Petch, who is, of course, the founder and chairman of Virtuzone. New season of starting up. Lovely to have you back in the studio.
Very excited. We're going to be new, we're going to be fresh, and we're starting with crypto to demonstrate that.
Absolutely. That is our theme for today's programme, cryptocurrencies and fintech. As it emerges that more than 10% of UAE residents have already invested in cryptocurrencies. Now, that is according to the country's Telecommunications and Digital Government Regulatory Authority. They say that globally, the UAE is now ranked 10th in terms of cryptocurrency investment rate. So our big question today, with all that appetite for tech investment, is fintech a good sector for a startup? Joining us now to discuss just that is serial entrepreneur Danosch Zahedi. He is the man behind Arts DAO. They are the leading community for NFT, Metaverse and gamify projects in the region. He's also one of the crypto sheikhs, and they run a successful podcast discussing and explaining cryptocurrencies. Good morning, Danosch. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well indeed. A lot of those words I just said, I don't know the meaning of. Neil does, though. Neil's really up to speed on cryptocurrencies and NFTs and things, aren't you?
I've been practicing getting my lips around DAO all morning.
DAO. I was well, when the first thing I asked Danosch when he came in is it DAO or is it DAO?
So I usually say DAO. Some people say DAO. It really doesn't matter. It's all the same. It stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization, which is essentially an organization unlike the traditional organizations where you have a boss, you have a CEO, you have employees. In a DAO, it's completely decentralized. So me, you, and Neil, we can start a DAO together, and we can start a radio channel, and we can decide that we want to group together our funds and resources and start up our own radio channel. And together, the three of us, we can vote on what topics to discuss, and we can make proposals. And these proposals are all on the blockchain, so it's completely safe and secure. The voting is completely safe and decentralized. So from that point of view, there's no hacks, there's no risks, there's no threats, and there's loads of different applications for DAOs.
Danosch, the way I had it explained to me, and now I've got an expert here, so I'm going to get some free advice from you, is because Virtuzone, we set up hundreds and hundreds of companies every month, and most of those companies have shareholders agreements and memorandum of understanding and all this paperwork that you probably don't refer to. And then you've agreed to do something and you don't actually follow it through, and then there's a shareholder dispute. A DAO kind of automates this. So if you've agreed as part of your shareholders thing that you need a 60% majority to do something, it's kind of automated. So actually, it's much safer. And my only comment is that this whole thing, just as Georgia, as you demonstrated, when someone doesn't understand something, you're scared of it. And that's
Absolutely.
What we need to change. We need to educate. We need to let people know that actually this is a way of making your businesses safer and helping the UAE reach out and provide that globally.
You see, to me, it sounds like anarchy. I'd want control.
Yeah. The thing is, yes, but the way the world is evolving, the way the new generation is thinking about work with the whole gig economy, they don't really like hierarchies. They don't like these typical structures that we have put in place. And I believe the future of organizations is going to be more and more smaller communities organizing themselves around a certain cause, a certain idea. And the beauty of DAOs is you can pull together these resources, the people and the ideas to create something unique. A DAO is a little bit like a vending machine. Now, a vending machine, like a Coca-Cola vending machine, you still need human interaction to make it run, right? But in and of itself, it's quite kind of self-operating. It has the electricity. It kind of signals when the stock is running low. It manages the payments, and it also manages the delivery of that can to the end user. So DAO can be operated quite similarly in that sense. If you have predefined things that you want to vote on or predefined set of decisions that you want to have made, you can all embed that in the code on the blockchain, and it gets automatically executed. So that's basically how a DAO operates. So you still need some human interaction, but there are DAOs that are running quite automated.
So as you said, Danosch, decentralized, when someone hears that word and they've read stuff in the press and, oh, that's out of touch of the authorities, they don't have control over it, oh gosh, you know, they have these concerns. But actually, there's technology, there's software, there's the ability for the authorities to check that everything has been set up in the right way.
Yeah.
So it's actually kind of safer, isn't it?
It is safer. You don't have that, for example, with banks, and I've had loads of problems with banks. I want to send money, and then the money gets stuck somewhere, and I have to go to this intermediary and understand where is my money stuck.
And you get charged for the privilege of waiting.
Exactly, and then you have to recall the payment and pay for that. So in a decentralized structure, that with crypto, we're kind of decentralizing money. With NFTs, we're decentralizing art. And there are NFTs for music that are kind of decentralizing the music industry. So in the future, you won't have these record labels the way they are structured today. So crypto and NFTs is providing a lot of solutions to real modern day problems.
So you've got all the buzzwords there: NFT, metaverse, GameFi.
Scaring the life out of me.
Yeah. How does a DAO help GameFi projects?
So, for example, in a GameFi project, you might have 100 people, and they decide they want to create a game together. So they join together, they all chip in with $100 each or $1,000. Then you suddenly have $100,000, which you have crowdfunded from within the community, a community that's already very passionate about the game that they want to develop. And they pull their ideas and their resources together, and they say, let's hire these developers. And then someone puts a proposal, and the DAO and the community votes for that proposal, and it gets automatically executed, and the funds flow straight away to these developers. And that's basically how a DAO operates.
I'm going to announce something live for you now, Georgia, just in case you think this kind of thing isn't real. The biggest
You can read my eyes, can't you?
The biggest e-gaming company in the world, Galaxy Racer, founded by Paul Roy here in the UAE, has just announced this morning a 15-year JV with La Liga, the Spanish football league.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you see beIN Sports or whatever, these guys are now the JV partners of La Liga. So that's this world, your world, Danosch, coming into the real world, coming into perhaps one of the biggest marketing engines that exists these days.
I mean, even in football, it's a great concept to apply NFTs and crypto. Imagine all the fan base of Manchester United or Chelsea. They want to decide.
Thanks for that example. I'm a United fan.
They're doing quite well at the moment.
Ah, finally.
Yeah. Now imagine all of them decide that, okay, next season, or the board of Man United decides that we want to buy one of these three players. You as fans, you get to vote on the blockchain. And once you do the vote, you put in the vote, you can participate in a different way. And in a DAO, everyone is participating in the profit sharing as well. So once that football team makes the profit, they have to return it back to the holders.
So a DAO could enable the fans of Manchester United to throw out those horrible glazers, put money into the club, and actually have a role in the decision-making process.
Absolutely.
Oh,
you can
heaven.
You can technically have a new football team being started by a DAO, which raises millions of dollars, and they buy all the players they need, and everyone that's part of that DAO gets a share in the...
Georgia, are you in?
Well, I probably would be. What I'm intrigued about this is, are DAOs allowed in all jurisdictions, or is the UAE quite ahead of itself in that it allows them?
So currently, DAOs haven't been very regulated, right?
And that's part of the joy of them, I suppose, in many ways.
Yes, regulation is good. I believe that the moment regulation comes into place, people know how to operate, because right now it's a bit of a gray area. The UAE, however, is very strong and proactive in turning new regulation laws in and apply them in reality. Mm-hmm. And we are seeing that VARA, the Virtual Assets Regulatory Body, is doing a lot to regulate the space here in the UAE, but they're doing it in a very proactive way. And they're working with the community to come up with the regulations.
Same thing as the metaverse, Georgia. I think in a lot of countries, all this innovation is coming from private companies. Here, you're getting announcements from the government, And we're working as Virtuzone, we're working to enable people to set up DAOs globally, based out of here. And then I'm sure, Danosch, you can speak better to the Metaverse opportunities than I can.
I mean, I was going to say, along those lines, is the UAE a good place to set up and succeed as a fintech startup, better than maybe elsewhere in the world?
So what we're seeing is that there's a lot of people flowing into Dubai to set up crypto, NFT businesses, blockchain businesses. And I personally believe UAE is a fantastic place to run a business. It's very easy to set up. You have companies like Virtuzone that help you with the whole process. It is super smooth. Setting up a bank account is fairly straightforward. So all in all, yes. And the tax kind of
always lovely.
Situation
yes.
is great as well. So we do see a lot of people moving in from the US, a lot of people moving in from Australia, a lot of people moving in from Europe because of the benefits that the UAE offer. And we see that Dubai is it's a playground for adults. And because our business is so events oriented, we're like a social DAO. And there's no other place other than Dubai where we can throw the type of events that we do, and we can have the type of level of the events. And we're looking to actually bring together the whole global community of Web3 and NFT people to Dubai. And we're going to do that through something called NFT DXP, which is going to be a massive event happening in March. We're planning to bring in people from the US, investors, artists, big NFT projects, metaverse projects, gaming projects, DJs, and we're going to turn it into like a music festival / a Web3 conference.
That's brilliant, because what we need is people to adopt this and start using it. So, Georgia, your stat was 11% of people.
Yeah,
have
11%
invested.
so far. Plenty of space in that market, I guess.
But, it's like property 15 years ago. People were just investing because they wanted to make money, not because they understood it. More and more now we're seeing real projects delivered. And I think part of this is education, right? So this events like you're doing, Danosch, are brilliant to spread the word.
Yeah, so we actually started the Crypto Chefs podcast to educate people, but it's now changed the name to the Arts DAO podcast to have one brand. And the whole idea from the beginning was to bring more mainstream adoption to the space. And we believe that the next frontier for us is to do this event where we bring the mainstream audience and we kind of try to make them understand and learn about crypto and NFTs. That's the only way you can get more use cases, by bringing more people with more brilliant minds into the space.
And what I found, Georgia, is in a lot of these events where people are learning how to do it, their next step, of course, is that they want to put into practice what they've learned. So what they need is a currency in order to be able to transact. So the percentage of people that actually turn from attending an event and learning about it to then adopting it and starting to, whether it be trade or whether it be use this technology to build their businesses, is a higher percentage than anything we've seen before.
How difficult is it to get the hang of it? Because I have to say, right now, I can really feel the wheels of my brain grinding to try and understand it. On other concepts, I can get them fairly quickly. But on this one, it really does. I feel like I don't want to be a Luddite, but I feel like one in my head. And it's just, if I came to one of the conferences and listened assiduously all day, would I get the hang of it by the end?
I think you would. I think my suggestion to
Neil's not so sure.
I was just impressed that you said Luddite and assiduously in one word.
Sentence.
Yeah, amazing.
We are seeing more and more schools adopting coding into their curriculum. The world is changing and we have to change with it, right? So we have to learn these things. It creates loads of opportunities for those people who spend a little bit of time just understanding what is a blockchain. Once you understand that, you then have to understand, you can learn about what is an NFT, and it's like a ladder, and it's not that big of a ladder. It's very easy to learn.
Okay, that's very encouraging. I feel encouraged by you. So thank you very much indeed for that alone. And of course, for all of those insights. Danosch Zahedi, he is the man behind Arts DAO. They are the leading community for NFT, metaverse and gamified projects in the region. Absolutely fascinating to have you in the studio. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much for hosting me.